A South African company believes it can connect local townships to the internet for as little as R5 a day, led by former SAA CEO. ILITHA Telecommunications wants to beat the bigger players, or at least play in that space, by taking fibre to the homes of the underserved communities. Vuyani Jarana joins us now in studio to tell us more about this new venture. Thank you for making time, Mr. Jarana. And congratulations on this new venture. You are not new in the telecoms space. You spent a lot of time at Vodacom before joining SAA. Why did you decide to come back?
Yeah, look, I started telecoms from school, and I worked for many years in the telecom space. And my detour to SAA to go to aviation, more than anything else, was to go and do the intervention to salvage the airline. But my own investments were always going to be in the ICT space in any case, because that's kind of where my DNA is.
Yeah. And we've got major telecoms companies that are jostling for dominance in the space. So as this emerging player, what is the gap that you have identified as ILITHA Communications?
It's huge. The gap is huge. So, Clement, the entry point for any new player in any industry, there are largely three drivers there. When the market is underserved, for example, which means the right proposition is not available in the market. Secondly, when the existing players are charging excessive pricing, which means they are skimming the pricing, leaving the bulk of the market not able to afford the service. The third element is technology transition. So if you look at South Africa's broadband industry today, all three elements are in place, especially for the townships. If you look at the township and rural areas, the people there are paying more for what I deem as a less of a quality service. The telco industry works on the commercial models are around two things. One is about security of tenure. If I know that you're going to give me you sign a contract with me to give me revenues for the past 24 months, I give you huge discount at a unit price. I even throw everything in there, phones, TVs, everything. The second element is that if it's on prepaid, you have to buy bulk. If you buy bulk, then the unit price is low. Now, if you look at the township people and rural people, they have no capacity to sign long-term contracts. At the same time, there's no capacity to buy bulk data, which means they are charged the highest price per unit in general, based on the economics of the township, the affordability, the income level. So that tells us there's something to do there around price. At the same time, the service is largely mobile-based type of service. So quality-wise, it's a more of an inferior service than a fiber-based broadband. The third element, which brings to the table, is that people are looking for data. Internet has no brand equity. If you want to access internet, you're looking for speed and price. If you go to a hotel, you don't say, well, I want Wi-Fi from company so-and-so. You just say, is it secure? Is it the right price? Is it fast enough? So all those things create opportunity for a young startup like us to come in. The conditions are fertile for anyone to enter the industry.
All right, so you've identified that gap. What are you going to provide? Because the areas that you're mentioning have been underserviced for the longest time, because the focus has always been on suburbs, right? So what is your company then going to provide, and how different is it really from the big telecoms companies?
Very, very different. So the opportunity there in the township, we're offering high-speed broadband, largely using optic fiber networks. So we come in, we connect every home in the township. We don't cherry pick and say, well, who has got the money, who doesn't have the money, because we know that people are using internet every day, but they are paying high prices. So we provide that. The biggest differentiation is that we provide it on a truly prepaid basis. People say they provide prepaid, but actually it's almost like no contracts thing. So you pay me $4.99, but no obligation. Here we look at the home, we say, we understand the sociology of township living, that people buy bus tickets for a day, for a week, for a month. We provide services. So if you want to have it today, you buy a voucher for today. If you want a weekly one, you get a weekly one. It's got a bit of a discount in there. A monthly one has got a huge discount on the face of the daily consumption. So the ability to buy it when you have it, when you have money, and what we are offering is unlimited broadband. So You pay as, if you are individual, one device, you can pay as little as 3 rand a day, and you have unlimited internet.
And it doesn't expire.
It does. Well, it's time-based. So you connect today. If you bought for today, you have 24 hours of service. Next tomorrow you buy. If you buy for 7 days, you've got 7 days of unlimited internet. So it's not metered. It's not a case where you say, well, I've reached a cap now. It's uncapped. So low cost, uncapped internet, 20 megabits per second upload and download, super fast.
Yeah. I'm interested in how this change came about of having the time-based kind of internet, right? Because I remember when I was covering the ICASA hearings around the price of data, that was a huge contention of what happened to the data you used to buy and you can just use it for the next year. What has been the reasoning behind having the 1 day, the 7 day, the monthly kind of data that we purchase? And is it beneficial to me as a consumer or more to the big companies?
We're doing this as time-based. That's the principle we're doing, because you buy for the time that you're going to use. You don't buy bulk when you may have data expiring and say you didn't use it, it expired. So the way we've shaped this is to make sure that you buy what you're going to consume. If you're going to consume for 7 days, you buy a 7-day pass. So we don't give you a bulk that you will speculate around. But most importantly, if you look at bulk bundles, if you like, so the headline price of a bundle may be a number. But one of the things that many people don't understand is the consumption rate there, the depletion rate on the bundle. The depletion rate may be accelerated, so you may still get a bundle at a particular price point. But a telco can switch the depletion rate to work at a faster rate. So think of it this way. If you buy a loaf of bread, you're going to give, the cat will consume the loaf of bread to take longer. A dog would be faster. If you give it to a hippo, it will show it in one spot. So that's some of the mechanics on the pricing on the data rates that comes through. But we thought the best thing is to give the customers a very transparent pricing, super low cost. You buy what you can afford, and you consume it at the time that you want to consume it. And also, the proposition is simple. Not all families are of the same size. So we have a proposition for a person who lives alone, a family that's medium size with 3 people or 3 devices, and a fully fledged family. The fully fledged family will buy up to 10 devices at 10 rands a day, which makes it about 300 rand a month. So we make sure you pay for what you're going to consume, and you don't pay for excess capacity that is not that you're not going to consume. Yeah.
How many homes have you connected so far in this high-speed internet?
So we've got about 5,000 homes already passed in Mtanzane. In Ward 48 specifically, the target is about 3,000 homes that are formal and about 600 homes that are informal. Where we are now, we've got 1,800 which have been activated, and the other 1,200 have got drops already. So the teams are busy activating routers into that market today.
Is the focus just on the townships, or are you looking at informal settlements as well?
So we're covering. So in a township, we tackle formal and informal. And the difference in the informal one, we use outdoor APs, so which is with beam. We don't put a router in every home, but in the formal houses, we put a router. But what's also important, Clement, is that we're building the neighborhood network. So we know the sociology of living in a township. Smaller houses, so people live more outside. So our network is not only available in your home. As long as you have covered the ward, you use the same value out of home. So there's a Wi-Fi mesh we are building. Same ticket. So from a proportion point of view, you don't just buy to be at home. So when we cover the whole of Mtanzane, people in Mtanzania are going to be able to use the network. We'll expand the net. As we expand it, the more beneficial. So it's not just a home-based network, because we understand township living. It's about neighborhood. It's about going to the neighbor, going to the recreation facilities. So you don't have to go home to connect it to the internet. So you must use it wherever you are in the township. So it's built. The proposition is built with a lot of thought about what how do people live in the township? Yeah, because we live there.
Yeah, you know very well how the telecoms industry is so capital intensive. So you're going to need a lot of money to drive acceleration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we spent 3 years in a capital raise program. It's a capital intensive program, but it's important to find partners, investors who share the same aspiration. We're not looking for investors who are taking a short-term view, more extractionists. We want impact investors who are taking a long-term view. Fiber has a lifespan of 25 to 30 years. So you have to want to monetize it on a longer-term basis so that you can keep the price point to the consumer low. So that's the investment philosophy we're driving through. Any investor who's an impact investor, you are with ILITHA. If you are not the impact investor, even if you have got the money, we don't want your money.
So this industry is dominated by the big players, as I said. And I saw that Vumatel merged with Duck Fibre Africa, and it looks like Vodacom is going to hold some stake in that formed entity. How worried are you about that level of competition and that consolidation in the market?
So look, I think for where we sit, we're serving on white spaces. We're not getting to a head-to-head into the high-end market where the fights are happening. We think that consolidation is happening from an investment point of view, but that consolidation is not driven by the market saturation at all. So as long as there's a market to serve, there is a space under the sun for nimble, smaller players like ILITHA and many others that should come out actually to drive down the price of data. So I think the consolidation is happening from an investor ambition. There are white spaces in the market. It's not because there's no space to sell, no consumption. You know, consolidation that's driven by the market is when there's nowhere to grow, therefore you consolidate. Here, we think it's premature, but it's only driven by investment strategy, not the market conditions.
So it all comes down to service and affordability.
Service and affordability. If you are able to deliver a meg of data at the lowest cost possible, that's the trick. And we think for that market, we can bring it the affordability. Keep in mind that when you serve the township, you are not always looking for new money. We're bringing in a service that they consume today from a high price point in terms of mobile prepaid data. We give it at a fraction of the cost. So it's the same money. So it's not new money. We're not looking for a new envelope from the home. But we're giving them a product that has got a high positioning from a price to performance point of view. Low costs, super fast, and we think that a lot of the mobile players are going to struggle to come to that matrix.
Yeah, look, I wish you all the best. I mean, when I was looking at a report by ICASA, you see how many rural areas are still struggling with this access to broadband. So the market is there, and in this digital economy, we need more of such companies. That's Vuyani Jarana. Thank you for making time.